I'm not quite sure what our eyes have just seen. Our USMNT played a Gold Cup night that was, let's just say, for the hardcore fans only. I have witnessed this team in great nights. I have seen this team in times of agony. Tonight, it was just really a night of tepid, innocuous, really a test of fan commitment kind of football. One for the greatest of diehards, our MLS All-Stars versus their Saudi Arabia League All-Stars. And it was a bit huff and puff, low-quality, disjointed football. I love this team. It was occasionally brutal to watch tonight. We didn't outwit Saudi Arabia, but we did outlast them. We've dominated possession. We actually did so little with it. Ultimately emerged with a 1-0 win. Chris Richards is a great American. We didn't get grouped. The only way is up, and we are here to break it down and take your questions and comments on tonight on this Do It Live. Come be with us with a legend of the game in this nation. 142 caps, record-breaking goal total for the men's team. Epitome of all that makes football great in the United States. Grind, grit, glory. On a live taping of his show, The Deuce, with the giant of Nagadoches, a man who played the game all gas, no brakes. Oh, it's amazing to see Mr. Clint Dempsey.
What's up, Raj? How you doing?
How are you doing, Clint? You're still awake, baby.
I almost fell asleep, but hey, I'm happy the boys got the win tonight. Is what we needed.
Yes, that is all that bloody matters. We're going to take your questions, viewers, of the GFOP Deuce Faithful. I do want to say, what a night we had in Austin last night. It was a total blast to be with you on stage, Clint, and to meet your parents, Aubrey and Debbie, true American legends, Clint.
Yeah, I mean, it was great to be at my first live event, have my parents there, my brother and his girlfriend. And, yeah, I think there's more people at the pub than at the stadium tonight.
There really was. By the way, you joke, but it's actually true. There were more people in Austin to see Clint Dempsey live last night.
And
I still think we need to play you, baby. That would make everything. If you were not on stage, but you're on the football field, it would be a slice of magic. By the way, I can't stop thinking about what you said. About what went through your mind after you scored that World Cup goal against England in 2010. It was really the highlight of the night. Find that story and dozens of others on our YouTube right now from last night. In Dallas, Texas, we're coming for you Saturday night. Another live taping of The Deuce will be live at the Londoner at 7:30 in Addison, ahead of US versus Haiti, a.k.a. the big one. We'd love to be with you. You can get tickets. Come be with us. Come raise a pint with us via our website, in the socials, down below YouTube. And if you're listening to it on the podcast, you'll find them there in the notes. It is going to be a packed house. I'd just say let's savour the energy and joy of that room. It's really the energy our team needs in this moment. We'll do the same tonight on this show because this is a Gold Cup Do It Live made possible by our great friends at Allstate, which means you, the GFOPs, can be part of the show. Come and ask Clint whatever you want about football, fishing, life, the US performance now or in the future. Just scan the QR code, top left of your screen, go into a Zoom with producer Tony, get you set up to ask your question. Honestly, we need it. We need a bit of life tonight. Come and be with us. Hit the comments. Give us a like, subscribe, all that stuff. Mighty Chris Richards just wrapped a post-game interview with Fox's great Jenny Taft, in which he said, that's CONCACAF. Sometimes you've got to get nasty, and that's exactly what we did tonight. Clint, you know CONCACAF. Was that like a classic CONCACAF night that we just witnessed?
It's a CONCACAF night against a team that's not from CONCACAF, but hey, sometimes you got to win ugly. The most important thing is you got 6 points from 2 games. Normally when I look at a game, I want to talk about the attackers, but hey, I got to hold my hands up and give credit to the back line and Freeze and Gold. 2 games in a row, clean sheets. Tim Ream and Chris Richards are amazing tonight. And like you talked about earlier, Raj, Chris Richards was the man amongst boys. So it's good to see that. It's good to see us dangerous on set pieces again. I thought Berhalter whipped in some good balls. I'd like to see a little bit more from him during the run of play. Yeah. But those are probably some of the highlights of tonight.
Well, let's break it down together. By the way, Jake Housef asked the big question, did we finally see some of that grinter, the fight Poch has been talking about. Keep those comments coming in the chat. Gage Wheeler in the chat says, I can't seem to find Saudi Arabia anywhere on this map of Central America. Gage, it's right by the Gulf of, what do they call it now? I don't even know anymore. It's probably going to be called the Gulf of Saudi Arabia very soon if Saudi Arabia do what they want and find their way into CONCACAF. But let's get into tonight. We're facing, it should be said, a very B-team Saudi Arabia. I think just 2 of the starters from their greatest night when they downed Lionel Messi in the World Cup. Where is Messi? A lot of Saudi League aspirants, really cautious in their shape. I met with a couple of US soccer characters in Austin when I was there yesterday. They promised me this would be, quote, a wake-up performance. But man, first of all, stadium again, we got to talk about it. So unbearably empty. Really a reflection of just how quiet it was before the game tonight. Almost no chatter or media about the game. Very little written about it in the run-up to it coming into this. I think the biggest story was just about how Tim Ware and Weston McKennie were amongst those Juventus players caught up in the quite surreal White House visit. I mean, the serious issue is, Clint, I can't remember a time the United States men played and was met with, just more, well, crickets, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty tough to see. I don't know if it's a situation of ticket prices. I don't know if it's a situation of promoting the games, or if it's a situation of just people don't want to go to games. They're not motivated and they don't care enough to pack those seats. So you're going to have to get with your people from Harvard or wherever they do all the studies to figure out what's going on with all that. But yeah, man. You got to create your own energy, and there wasn't much energy tonight. But, hey, credit to our back line for keeping another clean sheet and us being dangerous to get on set pieces, brother.
I like that. You do have to create your own energy. We have to find a way to create an energy, a connection between these players and the fan base again. I'll say this. The United States fan base is now a really discerning fan base. We hear a lot along the lines of, if the players don't care, why should we care? Paying top dollar for tickets. This is where we are now, less than a year out from the World Cup. There really is a healing that's got to happen between this team and their nearest and dearest in the fan base. I believe it can happen. I mean, having been in that room in Austin last night, I'm sure Dallas will be the same. There is an energy. There is a joy. There is still a big dreaming. There is a hope. We've got to bottle that. We've got to share it. We've got to put it out into the world, but into the lineup. After the biggest win in nearly 2 years, that 5-0 obliteration of that tomato can Trinidad and Tobago team. Pochettino we debated yesterday, would he go for some change? Is he still auditioning, cast a wide net, or would he stay the same? He rolled out the exact same starting lineup, which meant in goal, Matt, yes, but of the freeze variety and not Matt Turner. It's a bit of a dagger, it must be, for Matt Turner. Matt Turner needs games. He is not getting them currently. What will be going through his head, Clint? Is he like, I know, really what's going through Poch's head? Is he, I know what a Matt Turner does, I want to see another option? Or is this really a challenging moment for Matt Turner? He really is now on the outside looking at.
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenging moment for him. But you look back until before the World Cup, where he kind of took the spot from Zach Steffen, was in a similar situation, right? So I think he knows what can happen if things don't kind of turn around quickly. He's got the move this summer to Lyon, and if he's able to get minutes week in and week out, he hopefully can get back to his best. But if you're looking at this situation now, 2 clean sheets in a row, and a new manager's coming in and wants to shake things up. You look back at Copa America and CONCACAF Nations League, he was a part of those mishaps or failures, whatever you want to call them. And then now he's got to be thinking, man, unless Freeze does something bad, how am I going to get into the game, right? So maybe it's a situation going into the third game. Maybe you give him a chance there, or you want to make sure that you for sure win the group and get as many points as possible. But if you're Matt Turner, it's a tough situation, but it's like that old saying, tough times don't last, but tough people do. So you got to stay the course and right the ship.
Tough times don't last, but tough people do. I've got to say, we've got to start keeping a book of Dempseyisms because these are human truths to live by. I felt the same for Brendan Aronson. You'd said yesterday, that you believe in that position, coming back from Europe, just got his team into the Premier League to be so far down the depth chart that he's really just playing cameo roles late in games. The fact that he again did not get the starting role, I ate for that kid. I mean, when you look at him, if you were to speak to him, what would you say to Brendan Aronson right now?
Well, I'm sure he'd have been frustrated again tonight. I mean, he'd have been happy that the team got the result, got the goal, but when he went on in the game, it was a situation where we were kind of holding on to that victory and kind of seeing the game out. He didn't get subbed in until somewhere around the 70th minute. But, hey, he went in there and he fought, but all you can do is keep fighting and training and try to make it hard to not put you in that lineup. And when you get your chances to come on as a sub, because there's going to be a game in this Gold Cup if he is a sub that we need a goal and we need more from our attack, because you look at our attack tonight, it wasn't good enough. We didn't create enough chances. We weren't dangerous enough. So you got to be thinking, hey, you're going to get your opportunity. And when you do, you got to make it count. You got to get you a goal and let them know, hey, I'm someone that the coach can count on. So that's what this Gold Cup is about, is showing Pochettino, like, who are his guys when the backs are against the wall that are going to step up.
Adjuman got the start again. Honestly, I was a little disappointed, to be honest, not to get a longer look at Haji Wright, see what possibly he could do from the start.
Yep.
Wasn't in the team tonight, has reportedly an Achilles issue. Poch had promised the US would quote, counter what he expected to be aggressive style of play from Saudi Arabia. They were missing 9 first-team players. Then they were missing a combined 516 caps with Al Hilal at the Club World Cup taking so many of their players. So they really bunkered in from the start. And the first 20 minutes were a fairly painful slow burn, not a lot of space on the field. Diego Luna was trying to do a lot of off-the-ball running to take advantage of the possession, but not a lot else. A lot of uncalibrated passing. Berhalter, kind of the worst culprit on the ball. Saudi Arabia organised, determined. It was hot. The manager, Hervé Renard, he glistened. His Chris White shirt open to the navel in the Texas heat. I think it was 89 degrees. What's it like playing in that kind of pizza oven, Clint? I mean, you grew up in that Texan swampy stuff.
It's tough, but at the same time, it's both teams got to deal with it. You got your water breaks, and you got to make sure that you're doing a good job with the electrolytes and try not to cramp up, but keep in possession and kind of taking the game to them, like you talked about. As a team that sat back, and we didn't do a good enough job of putting them under pressure. Right, we had a back three, and I think the broadcast did a great job of calling it. Have your outside backs get a little bit further up the field. And at sometimes you need to see either, you have Berhalter dropping in and making the three, and you need one of the center backs or Berhalter at times driving with the ball when no one's on you and try to find openings. So they did a better job of that in the second half. I thought Tillman grew into the game more in the second half. I'd like to see him bring more energy from the start of the games. But you talk about that heat, and maybe people are kind of managing themselves in that first half and thinking, hey, I can kind of empty the tank more in the second half. But sometimes in CONCACAF, if you wait till the second half and the game is tight, it can get away from you, like what happened in Panama in the semifinal game of CONCACAF. So sometimes you got to kind of CONCACAF Nations League. You got to go out and try to get an early goal, and that then allows you to kind of sit a little bit, be on the ball, kind of force them to kind of come out of their shell, and then try to get you another one. So,
Panama game too soon, Clint, too soon. That first half, the highlight was a Chris Richards cover tackle. Kind of tells you all you need to know. 72% US possession. Lot of anonymous performances. Jack McGlynn. Quiet in the as the game moved on. Alex Freeman caught out of position on the regs. As you say, Tillman quiet in that first half. Adjuman not able to coax a teammate to smack it in off his body. It was very, very ponderous stuff. Just one shot on target, 0.16 expected goals. If you watch that US men's national team first half instead of the NBA finals, I do believe you deserve a free cookie. Only 9 of the US's 424 touches in that first half were in the Saudi box. What is that a sign of? All that possession, very little done with it. Is that a lack of creativity? Is that a lack of ambition, or is part of you like, you know what, the Saudis were deeply organised, low block, we just couldn't break it down?
I think it's both. I think it's all three actually. It's a lack of creativity. It's a lack of taking risks, and at the same time, it is difficult when teams sit back against us because I don't think we have the quality to break those teams down. I mean, we're missing a lot of players through injury and what have you, but yeah, these are moments where you need to kind of continue. Yeah, there's players that are getting love, and you got to step up and continue to show you the reason why people are excited about what you're bringing to the table. And tonight, it just kind of looked like they were not hungry enough from like what we saw, like starting more from the jump, driving at players, trying to get shots off. You saw a few moments of it, but it definitely wasn't enough. And like you talked about, it was a tough game to watch, man. It was hard not to fall asleep, and but sometimes you got to win ugly. So we got to look at the positives. Clean sheet, 2 games in a row, more dangerous on set pieces, but we got to do better in the attacking third with our attacking players.
Yeah, Thomas Frank said something to. Was it yesterday when he was announced as the Tottenham manager? He said, "If you
not
don't
taking a risk is taking a risk."
Yes,
I saw that.
If you don't take risk,
that's a risk.
You also take a risk, is what he said. If you don't take risk, you also take a risk. We have to take risks in football. I watched that first half, and just very little. It's almost what you've said, holding everything in reserve. It changed a little bit in the second half. We did push up more. Chris Richards got up high from a corner, headed right at the keeper. Diego Luna, God bless, did all he could at times to try and craft a moment of inspiration. As he caught up with Diego Luna in Austin and told him just how much we've all been savouring his moment in the spotlight. And he said, just trying to have fun, man. I asked him what goes through his head when he's on the ball. He said, I'm just trying to have fun. Like, genuinely, that's what he's trying to tell himself in these moments with this team. It's what you say, Clint, just to try and play the football that you used to as a kid when you're on the street, to do that same thing in an international jersey.
Yeah, I mean, I there was a saying my brother said growing up that kind of stuck with me, and I kind of use it. It's like being someone who's serious about having fun, right? You got to go out and enjoy the game, but hey, I'm not here to lose. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that balance, right? Like, not everybody can play like Ronaldinho and just be completely happy and be so skillful on the ball, but you got to get stuck in. You got to take chances. You got to get shots off. You got to try to put people in, and it's something that always kind of stuck with me, that saying.
Mate, I got to tell you, I know you keep telling me you do not want to be a coach, but when you just drop these things, we need to be serious about having fun. Better out of your mouth than out of mine, man. But that is, I'd probably F that one up and tell them to have fun about being serious and completely balls up everything. But we needed something. We needed anything. Pochettino threw on Tyler Adams and young German-American Damian Downs, and within seconds, a fine Berhalter free kick. Really, lot talked about his set-piece delivery. Here, he delivered, and who swooped in to finish right off the bounce like an elite striker? That great son of Birmingham, Alabama. Oh, Chris Richards. That was some finish, Clint. He made something difficult look quite easy.
Yeah, I mean the way in which you have to kind of time that, it looked like he was sliding with the ball with his left foot and just kind of timed it. It looked like a striker's goal. That was more impressive about it. You'd have thought it'd have been easier with the header, but to be fair, when you watch that header on replay, he did do well to get that shot off. But at the keeper, it's always a little bit easier to say. But it was good to see that type of service being in, and especially in those positions with those free kicks. Like when you put in a free kick, that's where the defense has to face their own goal, and it's a dangerous ball, and good things happen. And credit to Chris Richards, he did it on both ends tonight, with making game-saving tackles and getting the game-winning goal. So a big night for him. So kudos.
He's a fantastic footballer, beautiful, beautiful human being. But he was like a man amongst kids watching him tonight at the back. Couple of really delicious blocks. It is joyful to watch him. He's another human being who's ground his way. The Bayern thing did not work out. Coming to Crystal Palace, very hard. Battled injuries, very little game time. Fought his way into that team. FA Cup winner, now an American hero. But Mike, very quickly, Pochettino's reaction to that goal, sideline, no joy. Very little emotion, actually. Just almost an angry relief. Did not look, Clint, like a man who has been that impressed by the Central Texas barbecue and your dry rub stylings in Austin there, Clint.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I look at that as a good thing. He expects more from this team, right? And he thought he was going to get more out of them tonight. He's happy with the results. Sometimes you got to win ugly, but maybe there's some things with the game plan that wasn't executed, and it might be frustrating for him because he knows that if they're going to get to the final and win this Gold Cup, they're going to have to be better than what they've been so far. But hey, credit to them for 2 wins in a row, 6 points in 2 games. Let's keep it going.
Never mind the quality, feel the width. A very interesting moment right at the end, actually. Bit of pushy, shovey. Hervé Renard, the Saudi coach, Harlequin romance novel cover boy, dove onto the field, into the melee, and then all of a sudden, who was there by him? It was Pochettino on the field, backing up his guys, which was, I don't like to read too much into moments like this, Clint, but that was a conscious choice by him in the moment. The little symbols, a bar fight was about to break out on the field. Pochettino showing his guys that he is with them. He's one of them. That if the fists start flying, he was willing to go medieval on their asses.
Yeah, I mean, that's important. You need a coach that's going to fight for you, especially when you're not getting calls, getting onto the ref, and kind of being in their ear. I mean, he's someone that holds respect for what he's been able to do in Europe and the player that he was. So you want to see that. You want to see him, that you're in it together. And I thought that it was a good sign for sure. And it shows that he cares, which the fans ultimately want to see as well.
God bless Pochettino. That man invented prison rules, believe me. So the US clinch a slot in the knockout round, 2 games, 2 wins. Not being grouped, honestly, is progress. I mean that non-flippantly. I mean it absolutely seriously. Baby steps. The game Sunday night against Haiti, almost now a chance to breathe, experiment a little bit, see some new possibilities, some new players, rest if we do have starters. It's going to be very interesting. We will break that game down in Dallas together, but God bless US soccer. They cannot catch a break. Tonight, going up against the NBA Finals, my friend TJ McConnell, God bless, what a hero. Sunday night, they'll be going up against Game 7. We are always fighting in the shadows, man, but we are 358 days away from the World Cup. Clint, I don't know what the answer is here, and there may be no answer, but who boosted their profile the most tonight in your eyes?
Chris Richards, for sure. Like what you talked about, doing it on both ends. Thought Tim Ream was solid as well, but the person who stood out the most was Chris Richards.
I always enjoy the work, the stylings, the flicks, the guile of Diego Luna. You mentioned earlier too, Matt Freese did not have a lot to do, but 2 straight starts, 2 clean sheets, good vibes for that man. Sometimes, and we're going to get to the questions in 1 second, sometimes the result is all that matters, right, Clint? The end justifies the means. Means can be hard to watch, but we really did need this tonight, right?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. If you're not getting out of the group in Gold Cup, panic stations, right? I mean, but yeah, we needed it like a fish needed water. So happy with the 2 results, like you talked about. Could maybe rest some players, get some other people some looks, and kind of see as we continue to build towards trying to make this run in Gold Cup.
Tyler Adams has just finished a post-match interview with the great Jenny Taft. He said we definitely answered the call. There's not many amazing moments, these are Tyler's words, but sometimes you play games like that. Next up, for Poch and his boys, Haiti, Sunday at AT&T Stadium. Oh my God, they're playing at AT&T. Oh my Lord, in Arlington, Texas. I do want to get to questions. Before I do, I want to acknowledge Lionel Messi and Inter Miami, first MLS team to beat a European club in competitive play. 2-1 Club World Cup victory over Porto. A little bit the curse of Rog. Look, it's a mad thing that Inter Miami were allowed in this tournament in the first place, but they are seizing their chance. And I do think today, that win for MLS over a bona fide terrific football team. This is quite a significant moment for MLS and for football in our nation, Clint.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're flying the flag for MLS, and they're doing their thing. Is almost like the old guard and of European players in terms of Messi and Busquets and some of those guys taking it to FC Porto that is known for their development. And, that's something that we could learn from the development of FC Porto and maybe how we could bring that to the U.S. and figure out a way to develop better players. But it's good to see American teams doing well and showing their quality. So, hey, like you said, they're taking the opportunity with both hands, and they got one more game to play, and maybe they can get on a run, do something special.
God, that would be a journey of wonder. When you talk about Porto, you're almost being the greatest pitchman for our work there, Clinton. I appreciate it. We did a show last Saturday with Porto president Andre Villas-Boas, Clint's former manager, right?
Yes, sir.
And he talked exactly about youth development, the secrets of what America can learn, coaching development too, to be candid. He did say, not to minimize Inter Miami's victory because it was hard earned, he did say his players were shattered. They were deeply fatigued. Many of them, he didn't say this, but he implied it, did not want to be there. Also said something interesting that I'll talk to Rory Smith about on Monday when we do a show after the Seattle game in the Club World Cup. He said that no transfers wanted to come to Porto because new players didn't even want to come to the Club World Cup, that they'll have to pick up players after the tournament. Really fascinating. I still believe a Brazilian team or an Argentinian team are going to win this thing, but we'll save that for Monday's Club World Cup show. Let's get to the callers. It is a joy to see so many of you still bloody awake after what we've experienced. So let's get to you. Reminder of how this works. Here on YouTube Live, scan the QR code in the top left of your screen or click on the pinned comment in the chat. Take you into a Zoom with our producer Tony, if he's still awake, and he can tell you everything you need to know. Do not worry, you won't appear on screen. Just unmute when you do come on. Tell us where you're from and come on and ask your question. Let's start with the great, old friend. It's Gustavo. Remind us where you're from. Unmute and ask your question for the great Clint Dempsey.
Hey, Rog. Nice to talk to you again. From Orlando, Florida.
Home of everything that's great in the Club World Cup, including empty stadia. What's your question, baby?
Yeah, I just wanted to say real quick, I really appreciate that Clint joined the network. I really appreciate his insight and just the status of a legend for the U.S. men's national team being a voice in here. It's amazing. Just wanted to ask about the coach, Pochettino. I mean, it's great that he's got the wins and, they're going to advance in the tournament. But no matter the results, are we still going to have to go back to calling, the Pulisic's and the Stars squad after this tournament, no matter if this squad wins it, to face like even the friendlies later on to prepare for the World Cup and eventually the World Cup? Or do we think that if this team does well, then, there might be more of a rethink of who gets called up?
That is such a great question, Gustav. I mean, it's the question. It is the question. I mean, we are definitely with this is a bit like Chelsea's Conference League squad. Two different squads, and the question is, do we just, as soon as the next window, is it just back to the old? Whatever happens, let's say they win the Gold Cup, our dreams, our wonder. Let's say new names kind of etch themselves in. Do the big boys, the big names, do they all just walk right back into this squad as if the Gold Cup had never happened, Clint?
I think it's a situation, as Pochettino said, you got to be playing week in and week out, first of all. And if you're not doing that, it's going to be hard to just walk back in. And then it's a situation, who does he trust and who can he count on, right? He's figuring that out, and he's making those decisions and kind of getting his squad ready for the World Cup and trying to make his best team that he can make a good run and get out of the group and try to do something special. So there's nothing guaranteed ever. And if you're going to have a good culture within your team, you have to have a culture that you believe that through training and through games that a starting spot is always up for grabs. And if you don't have that, I've never been a part of any teams that did anything good, not having that type of mentality or that type of um, you know energy towards people wanting to get into the starting lineup.
I think it's really fascinating, Clint, what you've just said, because it is. There's everyone I speak to close to this team talks about how a complacency had set in, that the big names that Gustavo's asking about did not feel their places were threatened, and it's led to all of the reality that we're kind of grappling with in this moment. It's almost as if in this summer, Pochettino has the raw materials to reshape that culture, and it's going to be fascinating to see whether he just allows them to all just come back in, or whether he is going to make a statement and lead. You know, he wants fight, he wants total commitment. He has it really. First 2 weeks of the summer been in a battle for control with the Pulisic distraction. I have a feeling, knowing Pochettino, I think he's pissed. I think he's incredibly displeased. I think he was totally blindsided by this. I think he was shocked being an Argentinian, where every player just wants to kill to get a chance to play for the national team. I think this has befuddled him. I have a feeling, Gustavo, there will be one individual who we've always treated as a must-play who will be leaving out the squad just symbolically from this point on, almost as a warning to the other players as he grapples with control to keep defining that culture. But we will see. I think you're asking the most important question for the next 358 days of this team, to be candid, and it's going to be fascinating to see it play out. Let us go to the mighty Drew, who I think may be tonight's hometown hero. Drew, unmute, tell us where you are, and what's your question for the mighty Clint Dempsey?
Yeah, I'm in Austin, Texas. Unfortunately, sick, so had to give up my ticket for tonight. But my question is,
what have you got, Drew?
What COVID, I guess, is still a thing.
Is it really?
Oh,
so
man.
maybe. First of all, I wish you health, happiness, speedy return. It can be a nasty business. Maybe the whole stadium was sold out, but it was just 15,000 people like you who had a ticket but were too ill to get.
No, this is my question. We see these, non-U.S. organizations in soccer, FIFA, CONCACAF, even U.S. soccer at times, completely whiff on ticket pricing. The get-in price for today's game was $100. And when are they going to, stop trying to maximize revenue from a small niche and focus on soccer as the growth opportunity that it is in this country? And, think a little longer term around butts and seats, increase that atmosphere, grow the game. What's going to need to happen for that type of thinking to take hold? Or is it just wishful thinking that they're all too short-term, revenue maximizing driven? Though I can't imagine that an empty stadium versus if you'd cut the ticket prices in half and filled it out wouldn't be better.
Whew. You're asking Clint and Rog deep commercial questions, Drew, in every regard. I mean, it is for the die-hard football fan. We constantly get flooded with letters. I will say this in our email from especially families who will write in after a game like this in an empty stadium. I guarantee tomorrow morning we'll have 30 emails from people who said, I've got a family of 5. There's just no way I could have spent X hundred, sometimes like $1,000 to get them all in to watch this, and it does pain me. The commercial machinations of football are, very, very complicated, and it's definitely veered towards. And remember, US soccer do not control the Gold Cup. This is a CONCACAF joint. But even when US soccer do, the ticket price complaint is there. And we're still, it's football, American football. You can see this audience needs to reconnect to its fan base. It really, really does. This is hard to watch. And the thing I can never get my head around, Clint, is when we talk about this and the empty stadium, wherever Mexico play, I was in SoFi for the Nations League. You were there. You were working that game for CBS. When the US played the Panama game, SoFi was a morgue. And there were hundreds of excuses as to why that was. 90 minutes later, Mexico kicked off. The place was packed. It was an absolute crucible. That is what I can't get my head around, to be honest, man.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things where you see when the U.S. doesn't perform and there's big failures like what happened in 2018. That's not qualifying for that World Cup. The fans let it be known, and a lot of those games after that where they cleaned house that there wasn't good crowds going to those games. And then you had what happened in Copa America, being the first host country not to get out of the group. The fans let it be known that they were not happy in the direction things were going. I don't think it helped in terms of the time of games and having, you know, two games in the same stadium and instead of figuring out a way to create a better atmosphere for those semifinal games for both games. But yeah, I mean it's definitely an issue. The U.S. need to do a better job of inspiring the fans to want to get out there. And then when you have situations where you're talking about inspiring the youth, you're already going to be taking a loss if there's no one at the stadium. Why can't you do a write-off and get soccer teams of these kids in there watching these games to say, look, I can watch this. I can see this with my own eyes. This is something that's attainable for me, because I remember in the 94 World Cup being lucky enough to go to one of the World Cup games and got that belief that maybe one day I could play for my country. Why aren't we doing more things like that?
I mean, ultimately, right now we're in a football commercial maximization era when really we should still have a growth mindset and be planning for the long term. We need it so very badly. Bodies, seeing this team, experiencing this team, communing behind this team. It is an absolute agony, I will say, to see that team take the field. I know, speaking to the players, they can't stand it either. When they take the field on a home game and they walk out and see a vastly empty stadium, it's an agony for everybody. But let's go to a beautiful human being. Mighty Ben, unmute. Tell us where you are and what's your question for King Clint.
Hi, Rog. I'm a first-time caller, long-time fan. My name's Ben. I'm from Boston. And my question is, could you speak a little bit more to what you've seen from Matt Freese over the first part of the season and the past couple of games that warrants him maintaining his role in the side? And what advice do you, Clint, in particular, have for some of the younger players in the squad looking to cement a place at the World Cup next year?
Do you want to take it?
You go ahead, beautiful. This is
to be honest with you, I haven't seen a lot of Freeze play. I just know that he's got 2 clean sheets, and hey, so far so good. In terms of messages, I'm just keeping it real. In terms of messages
it's so true. We're like, oh, Matt Freese, 2 clean sheets. I mean, I don't know the number of saves.
In terms of message to the younger players, man, what an opportunity that you have in front of you to try to get on a World Cup roster. 2005, going into January camp of 2006, I was on the outside looking in, and man, what a dream come true it was to fight my way into that roster spot. And the way I did it is went out there and left everything on the field, left everything on, all my chips where I was all in. So I was trying to, whether it was create goals, create assists, take people one-on-one, try stuff, what you name it, get stuck in on tackles, do the job on both sides of the ball, and control what you can control. And that's how hard you work in training and how hard you work in games. And lucky enough for me, it worked out. So that would kind of be my messaging to some of the young guys on the fringe trying to get into this roster.
You know what's interesting is that I remember watching you when you broke through. You played as if you did not give a crap about anybody else. You were just like, this is my time. I'm going to do it. This is me now. It's all on me. That does feel like there's a sense of daunted, a sense of being daunted about a lot of these players. They're not. They're very deferential to each other. There's not a lot of footballers on that field who are like, sod this. This is on me. I'm putting this whole team on my back. I'm going to go and I'm just going to go make all the noise. I don't understand that, Clint.
There was 2 things for me when I went off the field. When I went on the field, it's like, I'm gonna make the coach play me. I'm gonna give this coach a reason to play me, right? Like I'm gonna go out there and play my game the way that I love to play the game. I don't want to come back and look myself in the mirror and say, damn, I didn't do my thing and play my style, right? The reason why I'm here, they like the style that I play. I can't be scared of the situation. I can't, not go out there and do my thing. Like if I fail, I'm gonna fail on my own terms. That's the way I've always been in my life.
I mean, that's it. Ultimately, that we're not seeing a lot of that from these footballers, and I know modern footballers are now different to even when you came through. Like it is a lot more technical. It is a lot more, it is a lot quick passing, a quick move. There's not a lot of okay. I'm going to now just plow through everyone. Watch this. I'm going to take everyone on. Watch this. I'm going to try and destroy this human being. And I definitely would love to see a little bit more of that. Somebody who wants to step up. Diego Luna, God bless, is a gentleman that is trying to do the occasional flick, the occasional flair, the occasional, what he said to me, just make people happy, make himself happy when he's on the ball. There's not a lot of other human beings, a lot of very anonymous performances when really this is the open audition for a World Cup on home turf. That I do not understand. But I thought, Ben, are you still there, beautiful? Because I thought
I am, yes.
You had a question about Clint's 5 o'clock shadow, didn't you?
Yeah, my original question, Clint, was how do you maintain the perfect amount of not trying too hard scruff, and what does that mean for Matt Freese's legacy?
Hey man, it's easy, bro. It's all I've ever known. I mean, my facial hair grows quick, so I keep it shorter now because there's too many gray hairs in it. That's the reason why I keep it on the shorter side. But nah, man, y'all wild for that.
God bless. I'm just terrible at shaving. You didn't ask me, Ben, you beautiful human being. I want to tell you, we're going to come to Boston very, very soon. We will raise a glass with you. Is it true you were once a teammate of Clint Dempsey's?
Not Clint's, of Matt Freese's. Hence the focus of my question.
Are you were you a Harvard footballer?
A long time ago, Raj.
God bless.
You must be wicked smart.
God bless. We may need you, Ben from Boston. We may need you. Do not put those boots away, baby. Matt Freese is going to cement his role here. And then he's going to get his buddy Ben into the team. Enjoy it. We will raise a beer in Boston with you soon, I hope. We are going to take one more question.
Lips, Raj. Take care.
Big love. Thank you. A lot of people in the chat just want you to know grey hairs are hard earned. I think Stop Luca at Me is one of many who are coming in there. God bless. We're going to finish off with Peter from the other coast, from another great city. Tell us where you're from, Peter. Unmute. And what is your question for the great Clint?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah,
we hear you loud and clear, baby.
Seattle, Washington. Clint Dempsey, Seattle Sounder.
All the World Cup
yes,
cities
sir.
are represented here, Peter.
Indeed. Roger, you going to be coming out to Seattle sometime soon?
Yes, we really are. I mean, we're coming to every World Cup city in the next...
That was our first show together, Raj.
Back in the day. It was. You still got the camo blazer, but you ripped our patch off the
we go to
pocket.
Seattle. We do a live show. I'm bringing the blazer, bro. I got you. I need to put the patch back on.
Yeah, no, you don't even know where the patch is.
I need to get that patch put back on.
You don't even know where it is. I loved when you wore that on television. I'm not going to say I was a little bit hurt. You're just like, sod it. I'm going to rip that bastard off.
Oh, my bad.
Peter, what's your question, man?
You used the perfect word just now, and that's audition. When the squad list came out, I was one of the many that was disappointed that we weren't seeing more of the big names. But now the optimist in me is seeing this as an audition for these younger guys to make the jump to like the A team, if you will. And I'm curious, like, if there are names for you guys that are jumping off for you guys that could make that jump to the World Cup squad. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, tonight wasn't some of the guys that we have talked about best games, but names that have kind of been jumping out there. You look at Ajiman and Luna from what they did in January camp and in the CONCACAF Nations League, being guys that Pochettino could count on to starting out this Gold Cup with good play. Tillman, even though he's kind of been around the team, I think he's right there in terms of if he can take his game to the next level, bring a little bit more energy in the beginning of games that matches what he does in the end of the games, I think more good things will happen for him. And I think he's right there knocking at the door. I mean, those are some of the few names that pop out. What about you, Raj? What are you thinking?
Yeah, by the way, Tillman is one of those players. I think Tillman's a bloody good footballer if you watch him week in, week out. And again, it's that deferential. I don't understand that deferential mindset. These are not the greatest opponents they've played right now. I would love to see, you said it, the Tillman of the end, that last quarter of the game. Where was he at the beginning? Just say, all right, guys, this is, if I were Tillman, which I'm obviously not, so I can't believe I'm channeling this, I'd be like, this is Tillman and Diego Luna's team now. Let's take this on. Let's do this. Let's show them. I'd love it to be Tillman. I would love at the end of this, they were like, this was the period in which Tillman made himself undroppable in the conversation. But it's almost a mental mindset. He needs to really assert himself and seize this moment in a kind of Dempsey-ish way. Yeah, everyone knows of my admiration and my hope and aspiration for Diego Luna as much as anything. He's just such a feel-good human being and a feel-good story. And other than that, I'm not just saying it because Ben from Boston's a real one. I mean, this goalkeeper thing is mad. It's fascinating. It is so wide open, and right now it is Matt Freeze's moment. So we will see. God bless you. I cannot wait to be out in Seattle with you. Oh man, going back to Seattle with Clint Dempsey would be a joy of bloody joys. Via Kyle Bonner, the Sporting News, he just tweeted, this is a bit of an agonising story to watch. No doubt if you're listening to this in the morning, you may know even more. But the tweet is, after a big sigh, Mauricio Pochettino on Hadji Wright's injury, he said, we will communicate something on his injury, quote, in the next few days. That does not sound good. Godspeed to you, Hadji Wright. Last one for you, Clint, from the chat. The great Jake Hovseth asked the hard-hitting question. Clint, favourite lure or live bait for bass? Here we go. This is just becoming a fishing show, Clint.
Yeah, I mean, we said it the other day. I mean, it just depends on the time of year. I mean, if it's during the spawn, I like to throw a weightless Cinco. But if I'm fishing deep, I like to go Texas rig, Old Monster, like plum apple, plum crazy, something with a little bit of red color to it. If I'm in lily pads, throwing like a white with a black flake bass assassin and kind of walking it through there. But yeah, man, I definitely love fishing. We got to take Raj. We got to document it. I'm gonna take you fishing Lake Nacogdoches. Go with Aubrey and Debbie, and
oh God,
we'll get some highlights for the Deuce.
To go fishing with Aubrey and Debbie, you tell me when. What was it? The Bass Assassin.
Yeah.
God, we got to find.
It's kind of like a fluke. So it just it's on top of the water, and it just you kind of walk it.
We gotta. By the end of the Gold Cup, really, my goal is to find out whose nickname should be the Bass Assassin, because that's just a boss and nickname. God, Diego Luna, the Bass Assassin. I'm quite into this. It needs workshopping, but we will get there. This is why we brought Clint Dempsey on the show. This is a fishing podcast now with a side of football, and we're all a lot better off for it. That is it for this evening. We are now headed to Dallas, where Clint is, and I will be. Is it tomorrow? It's Saturday. We're doing the live show. I'm losing sense of time and space. We'll be at the Londoner on the Ales the night before the US play Haiti. We cannot wait to be in that incredible city. Tickets are available on the RSVP link all over the description of this YouTube video and podcast. Come be with us. Ask us the hardest questions you can in the light of day. We're also heading, or I am, to Washington, D.C. Oh, my God, from smoked meats to half smokes. We're doing a live show presented by the GFOPs at Allstate. I'll be with two US women's national team legends, turn leaders of the women's game. We're going to be with Sam Ewis and Becky Sauerbrunn at the quite beautiful Howard Theatre ahead of the United States against Canada. We've got, you know that game. You're all shouting, what? That's the All-State Continental Classico. It goes down Monday, June 30th, 7:30 p.m. We've got genuinely an incredible roster of guests. We're going to announce some of them this week. Really, really beautiful. I can tell you one of them is the Canadian manager, Casey Stoney. Tickets, again, all over our social. Come and raise a beer with us. But Clint, I'm going to see you in Dallas Saturday. Be safe, you beautiful human being.
Thank
Godspeed. That's it for this evening. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for staying awake, is what I'm telling you. As Tim Riggins said, Texas forever. And as Ryan Dempsey said, you got to get serious about having fun.